Hey YouTube, welcome back. This is part number 7 and the final part of my F-15C video build series, and it's the Great War Hobbies semi-second scale kit. So we've gone through the last few weeks, we built it, we weathered it, and did everything we need to do. So now we're just going to do the last few finishing touches at the start of the video, and then we'll do the final reveal. And then I'll just summarize the kit and give my final thoughts. So for the last time on this video build series, let's go ahead and get started.
Hey guys, welcome back, and we're going to final stretch now. So you see the oils are on, weathered, ready to go. So we're on a final stretch to get this thing, this beautiful jet complete. So first of all, the holes on the bottom here for the pylons, they weren't quite big enough. My bad, but I mean when I went to put them on, they didn't fit inside the holes very good. So I had to come and drill. So I've got one left. So what I do is, and this is a little bit risky, is my good old trusty Proxxon with a bigger drill bit. Actually, fortunately I have the holes marked so I knew exactly where the holes were, obviously because I had the holes already. Proxxon, much better than Dremel. Drill bits in there, and dial down the speed down to 6, and it's attached to a foot pedal. Now this is, we're using a power saw like this, is very careful. I'm nervous doing this on air because live on camera, because you don't want to go through the wing. Obviously you just want to pierce that bottom plastic. So I'm just going to line it up. That should be it. Let me just test fit it real quick with the pylon. Yep, there we go, we fit flush. So again, you just want to be very careful with that. Just don't go away through, obviously, because you put a hole on the other side and you got a whole world of trouble, because then you have to patch it and then paint it and try to weather it to match it. So, so we dodged that bullet. So, first of all, we can kind of remove the canopy. Again, this was just held on with a little bit of a PVA glue. Let's peel that excess glue off. So canopy can come off. And we have basically, if I actually bring a little box here, you see I have all the parts in the box here, all painted and ready to go. So, just going to take this is a lid, and some super glue. Then, simply, with basically a Q-tip, not Q-tip, sorry, a toothpick, or a cocktail stick. Just going to take a little bit of glue with this, and we'll start with nozzles. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue, just dot it around, and the nozzles, they don't go a chest fit in, they just go in any way really, don't really go in a particular way, so we're just going to put that in. Okay, let's try a little glue on the outside instead. It's not really sticking very good. This glue is a little bit old too, so it takes the bite away of super glue once it's, you know, a little bit old. Okay, let's try this now. Gets better. And this one, a little bit of imperfection on this, so I'll make sure that's at the bottom. Go. Looking good. And you can see now why we paint those separately. It makes it a whole bunch easier than having to kind of, you know, paint those in situ. It would be virtually impossible to get around the edges and stuff. So that's in. Now we'll come back with the tails. Actually, before I do that, let me just quick peek at the instructions. Just want to see the alignment of this. Actually got my reference book here. I just want to see exactly how the tails go. If they go straight up or slightly on the angle. Should be some pictures in here somewhere. There's four close-up pictures. I don't see any actual jet from a distance. Okay, look like pretty much go straight up. Oh, by the way, now it's painted, whatever, I do wear my glove just so I don't get fingerprints all over this. The oil hasn't probably fully dried yet. It takes a few days. So it looks like they kind of stand straight up. I need a lot more glue. So I'll quickly get the other one on, then we can look at the alignment. Now these guys, horizontal stabilizers, that way around. They do just pop in, but they kind of a little bit loose fitting, so I'm just going to touch it, add a tiny bit of glue just to stick these in. I'm not going to move them around, so. I'll do it a little bit like that. Again, just tiny little drop of super glue for the other side. Just make sure they're kind of lined up. Okay. Sorry, it's not that interesting on camera. It's just a little tricky to kind of do. I'll make sure I get them lined up right, because with super glue, obviously, I don't have many shots. Now, center pylon. And that's it. We'll let that dry a little bit first, and then we'll come back and do some other stuff. So we're whittling way down. There's not much stuff left in the box here, but just to make sure the ones we just did fully dry. Give it an hour, and then I'll come back and work on the rest once that's kind of hardened off a little bit. Right, so a lot of progress. Added all the gear, the doors, and the pylons and everything. Hindsight, I shouldn't put a drop tack on. I should put it on very last, because you have to kind of get these doors in the way. So I checked my reference materials, and the instructions again a little Chinese and not quite easy to understand. But what I think I saw in the pictures were, when it's parts, you have the doors. They're closed like this. They only open when you kind of retract and open. The wheels retract or extend. So I might be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. All this stuff went on, pre-painted as you know before. The missiles looking really good. Remember I painted those earlier on and really nicely decaled and really detailed again for 72nd scale. So the configuration went with the in the box here. There's two. We could have gone drop tanks on each side, but we went with a drop tank in the middle and the missiles on just the missiles on the wings for this one. So yeah, we're looking. I mean, if this is a normal 72nd scale kit, I mean, we're pretty much done. We put the canopy on and that's it. But there's so much detail on this. We've got a few more things we need to take care of. So, Great Wall Hobbies, these F14 and F16, sorry, F16, F14 and F15 kits, and also the SU-35 and 72nd scale, I truly believe are probably the best and most detailed 72nd scale kits you can get out there. Compared to something like an Airfix, like I said, it will be done by now, but there's a lot more detail left to go on this. Looking back at the instructions, we've got all these kind of like tiny little brackets that go down the side. We do have some little holes on the side, so I left those off obviously because you saw in the last video how I weather and brush and stuff. They'll just come break right off. So we need to take care of these, get these on and painted. All these little guys on this one, which is section 8. And going on to section 12, again, there's lots of little tiny little aerials and pitot tubes and stuff to take care of. So working on doing that stuff too. I not decided yet if I'll probably paint them first, or I probably will paint them first and then super glue them on, but we'll see exactly in a minute how they look. So plenty more, and then I'm sure on the upper side there'll be a couple of little aerials and antennas and stuff too. So lots and lots of little tiny guys still to go on. So yeah, so well, one other thing to mention is I did glue the bottom of into the canopy, this black part, painted separately obviously, and I just used some PVA glue so it doesn't frost the glass on this guy, but obviously we won't do that to the very end while we deal with the canopy. So right, so let me pull the plastic back out of the box and look at these tiny little pieces, and we'll figure out getting those on, and then we'll be pretty much done.
Final reveal time, and as always, I'd explain my semi-second scale kits in these trumpeter acrylic cases with a coastal, I think it's coastal designs, display base. I just think it really sets the aircraft off. So let me pull this off the thing, actually see the aircraft a little bit better. So kit wise, great kit, really nicely detailed, as all Great Wall Hobbies kits are. It was really nice to build. No real issues on this at all. The only issues I did have with the intakes were a little bit of a gap I had to fill on each side. You can have the intakes up or down. So that was the only little fit issues I had. I don't know if it's a kit on, it could be user error, who knows with these things. But apart from that, it was beautiful to work with. Went with the, this is obviously the C version. Didn't go with the kit supplied decals, which were the you see in the box there, that's the Oregon National Guard, and they had lighter scheme in, I'm not sure which one it was, to be honest with you, but I went with Caracal decals and the Lake and Heath markings. Being British, I like to tie things into that too, so obviously being a British base. So went Lake and Heath, you see 493rd Fighter Squadron. The decals were made by Cartograph for Caracal decals. Really nice, easy to work with, but the Carafilm was pretty thick on them, but nevertheless, really nice decals. I didn't use any of the kit decals other than the instrument panel and the cockpit. All the stencils and stuff I did use came with a Caracal set. I didn't go too crazy with stencils. Again, we're talking 72nd scale, and when it's grey on grey, you don't always see it, that kind of stuff. So a couple of configurations with this one. You could have the fuel tanks on the wings. I went with the option where you had a fuel tank, and you can't see it from this angle, but there's a fuel tank sensor, and then a couple of air-to-air missiles on each wing on that pylon there. So all I used, pretty much out of the box, I did use I can't remember which one it was, but I did use a resin seat. If you go back to the first part, I talk about getting that resin seat painted and off the block and that kind of stuff. So I used the resin seats I always kind of use pretty much with aircraft. And other than that's pretty much out of the box. Did use the decals. I did use that mask set, Aero mask set. And I did use an Edward canopy mask set too. Again, 72nd scale. It's a little fiddly for me, so I like to use those pre-cut masks where possible. You can't get an Edward mask for this particular kit, but I used the J, the Great Wall Hobbies F-15C Edward photo, the canopy mask set. It fits perfectly. It's the same canopy, so just as a heads up if you're looking for one. But yeah, then we kind of turn this around a little different angles so you can kind of look around. So we painted using those attacker paints. I love using attacker lacquer paints. Go down really nicely. Went with the aggressor grey with the mod grey kind of dark patches. Use those aero masks. Like I mentioned in the video, I think they shipped in the height of summer, so I'm thinking maybe the heat got to them because they were really hard to pull off and left a lot of residue. So in the end, Goo Gone just removed it completely. And I should, if it ever happens in the future, I'll just use that. But before I got to that, I used WD-40 and some sanding and some other stuff. So on certain parts, I had to kind of respray it and go again. So, but nevertheless, in the end, it turned out pretty nicely. Weathering, as always, Flory Models Dark Dirt Wash for the panel lines to kind of just subtly pull those out. And then we went with the Apatylon Smoke Neat Oils just to kind of accentuate some of the panel lines and create some more grime. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. Just adjust it. There you go, so you can see it a little bit better there. Yeah, and overall it came out really nice. Nice size too. F-15 is a beast. Especially I built the 48 scale one, and that's pretty big. So, this is a nice size in 72nd scale. It wasn't too fiddly or anything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, just moving around to different angles. The exhaust, obviously we painted separately. I did a whole video about the exhaust, although in the whole video I called them engines for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking, but the exhaust nozzles, really nicely detailed. Move around the aircraft a little bit more. And yeah, there she is. Boo-boo wise, errors, there's always something goes wrong, right? So other than the masks, camo masks, which kind of went a little bit awry with DZIF, you see those keen eye, you see a little bit of the canopy snapped off at the back here, so it's only technically on one kind of arm. Yep, this little piece here is broke. Not that you can see it unless you look closely. That one of the tiny little kind of little brackets kind of underneath here on the outside. There's 4 on each side. One pinged off, so I'm missing that one. And other than that, I think everything pretty much went to plan. So just a couple of little things.
But overall, yeah, really kind of happy the way this one turned out. Built, like I said, built for the 8th scale one, but it's nice to have the 72nd scale one to add to the collection. I do have pretty much all the boxings of these Great Wall Hobbies kits. I have all the F-14s, which are beautiful as well, which you've seen I built before, the F-14D. I have the F-14A in my stash. And then back to the F-15s, I have the... What do I have? I have the Israeli one, I have the E in the 75th anniversary of D-Day markings, and obviously I've just built the C. So I just need a Japanese one, I've got them all pretty much. But yeah, again, fantastic kit. Highly recommend it. For beginners, probably no. Just because there's a lot of detail going on here. You have torpedo tubes and stuff. And the instructions, especially these earlier ones, are crap. Not only are they always they're not in a booklet, they're kind of loose pages, but they don't. It's sometimes a little bit ambiguous where things go. Like there's an arrow, like for example the canopy. There's an arrow pointing like basically into the cockpit tub, saying, "Hey, put the canopy kind of strut in there to hold the canopy up." But it does. It's just a loose kind of like line. It doesn't show exactly where to put it. So it took me some figuring out and looking at some reference materials and various things too, trying to figure out where stuff goes. So the instructions aren't great, but so that's why I'm saying maybe for a beginner, probably not. If you've got a few kits under your belt and you're comfortable, kind of dealing with correction sheets and and really kind of small details, like I said, adding tiny little aerials and that kind of stuff like that, then yeah, you'd be good to go. No problem at all. The kit's really good value. I think this one was about $35 maybe. So these F-15s from Great Wall Hobbies are really good. I personally think Great Wall Hobbies are amongst, if not the best, 72nd scale manufacturers for modern jets out there right now in terms of detail and what you get. That kit's packed full of plastic, and it's fantastic. If you get like the usual Airfix kits and stuff, although they're getting better, maybe get a couple of sprues, but you don't get nowhere near the complex, the rivet detail you can see on here, the panel lines. Edwards up there too, but these are really kind of top of line, I think. So yeah, so thank you for joining me on this journey. If you sat through all 7 parts. What I'll do now is, as always, I'll finish with a few still photographs so you can see this guy a little bit closer up. But as always, I appreciate the support. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if so, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.